Welcome back. This is Tony with Earth Inspired, and today we're starting the next step, which is the layout process. In previous videos, you saw us make the halos. We cut out these backgrounds to fit the halos, and now we're going to be assembling the eyes, nose, and mouth and get them actually laid out so we can get some finished up. So let's get started, guys. Alright, the easy part is making the halo and picking out a background. Now we're starting the more difficult part, actually laying it out. So that starts with a background, a halo. I usually will get 2, 3, sometimes 4 of them laid out on the table at once. Then from there I just start picking out things. Here's one that's already kind of far along in the layout process. It's practically done. I do want to add maybe some more to the eyes, give them a little more dimension, maybe even give them a little background to stand off of. But this one is, in the mouth here, it's already been wired up a little bit. It's got some little metal place. I like to, instead of having it so you can see through into the background, I like to give it a little background of itself. And over here you have one, this one's completely done and wired. So I like to wire everything up rather than any kind of welding. Welding doesn't really work with these guys, mainly because of the variety of materials. We've got a lot of metal, but we also have a lot of rubber, and here's some electrical wire, and the different metals are not really compatible to weld together very easily. So, and you'll end up with galvanized parts and a lot of different, zinc plated parts, and this is some heater out of a little heater. It's a little coil, and those types of things just don't weld or solder well. And two, with the wiring, it gives it a little flex, a little bit of movement, and I like that. So you can, a little bit of wiggle room. They're not so stiff and rigid and solid. I think with a little bit of movement, they have a little more life to them. Again, this one here is about ready to start wiring. So what we're going to show you here in a minute is actually how we kind of pick out some parts and start laying them down. So something like this, I like things to have a little dimension. So I don't want this to be just straight flat. You can make things very flat and simple, and that has a certain appeal. But I like to have things standing up a little bit dimension. Now, a lot of times I'll use these nuts and bolts and things to just sit here to kind of get an idea of what it'll look like standing up. It's not really what I'm going to attach it with. What I might attach it with would be something like a little piece of pipe. This was part of a lamp something. I cut it off. I would maybe put this here, set this on here. If that was my desired height, I would then drill 2 holes, run 2 wires down, and tie it on the back. Also, the wiring is kind of a simple way. You can do nuts and bolts and pop rivets and nails and screws. All of that helps. All that works. And the one thing I don't like using glue. Like super glues and epoxies, they can be very strong, very useful, give you a nice clean look. But in 5 years, 10 years, 100 years, is this thing going to pop off and fall apart? I want this to be sitting on a wall for 100 years and be solid and sturdy, and as long as you protect it from the elements, it's going nowhere. Alright, so I've learned pretty quickly that if you're making things out of junk, you need a lot of junk. Certain things fit together in certain ways, and when you've got a certain look going on in a face, you can have 5 different things that look like noses, but only one of them is going to work. And if you don't have a huge amount of stuff to pick from, you stop progress on certain faces very quickly. So this is my trolley of junk. So I've got trays, I've got bins, jars over there, other trays laid out, a rack full of stuff. I get it from friends, family, I find it on the road, I take stuff apart. There's really no end to the amount of stuff and waste that people are throwing away. I just try to get it before it goes into the landfill. That's my goal. And the variety that you can find that way is something you can't even buy. So it really is a win-win. At this point, we're going to pick out some pieces, get them laid out on a background, and see what we can come up with. Alrighty, this guy's really starting to come together. You can see I've kind of laid the eyes out, and these are using, I like to make stacks for eyes. So we've got this spring here. This is a bolt. It's actually a CV bolt out of an old Bug. Got a lot of old VW parts laying around because of my dad's business. So that'll go into here. I'll drill a hole in the back, press it through, put a nut on the other side, and that spring tension will kind of keep everything in place. The nose, I kind of ended up potentially with this. Might go something like here. You could even lay out just to get a shape. You could even, I'm tossing around this idea, but I'm getting the basic layouts done. With the mouth, I'm probably going to use, this as some smashed, these were both found on the road. It's some smashed electrical, like wire housing, this is some wire way. Wires would go through this. And you can do all kinds of stuff. We'll cut it to size, but you can get like a smile going on. You know, a round circle, make a frown, shoot some screws through the top of it for teeth. We'll play with that. This right here kind of makes an awesome hat. This is just something I found on the road, some kind of piece off a car, or I don't even know, but it's been just smashed to pieces. And we may or may not mount this halo stand off. Sometimes that gives it a good look, just to give it a little more dimension, like I said. So we may change a couple things, but this is pretty much the basic layout, and it's kind of the next step. Once you get good feeling from it, it's all based off the feeling I get inside. So I'm kind of playing with things as I pick different items out. It'll look good to me, bad to me, and it's usually based off some kind of feeling and resignation with kind of the direction it's going. Alright, you can see how putting the actual pieces on the character and on the background, it really brings it to life. Next time we'll wire one up and we'll have a finished product.